What up, what up? This is going to be a lengthy video, so hold your horses and buckle up because I've got a lot to cover. So we will be talking about adjectives and ka intensifiers and relationships and just more about adjectives and how to use them. I decided to make this video because I ran across some people with errors when they were using adjectives, and I feel that there had to be some clarification in order to help them out, especially foreigners that try to use the ka and stuff. And you'll see through the examples um, why the kaayo and all that stuff can't work all the time. But anyway, let's get started. Let's get right into this, okay? So ka, we already know that ka can intensify the adjective by adding ka before the adjective. All right, but you can only do it once, right? It only intensifies the adjective once, and it only can modify the adjective once. So if an adjective is already modified, you cannot use ka. Okay. Well, that meaning if it's being modified by something else or another ka in the sentence, and you'll see through the examples. It affects adjectives only, and then you'll also see that through the examples that adjectives are solely involved with this ka prefix, right? And here is a reminder with the specificity, right? The sa and ang, all right? I'm not gonna go over that. So the next portion is our first example, and this is where you will see it, all right? Kanindot sa imong balay, day. Kalimpyo pud. So, okay. Kanindot sa imong balay, day. Kalimpyo pud. Here we have the ka again, that intensified nindot, our adjective. And it's specific to something, right? This adjective is describing something specifically. That's why sa is there. And we can only use that specificity, or we can only use our specific markers with it, right? Kanindot, what is beautiful? What was being beautified? Oh, your this noun, your house, it's being beautified, right? And here again, it's okay to use ka again in this sentence because there's nothing else that's modifying this adjective. Kalimpyupud, right? Here it's okay to use ka because this is the only and solely the only adjective in that sentence. Kanindot. Here in blue, we cannot say kanindot kaayo. No, kanindot kaayo sa imong balay, that's a big no-no, okay? Why? Because we have two adjectives now. I know kaayo means or translates into very in English, but if you take a look at kaayo again, all right, it's an adverb. And if we take a look at ayo, the root word, what does ayo mean? It means good, right? Ayo, good, right? If we add the ka to it, it just intensified it to mean very. We have two kas in this, right? Very, very, very beautiful, very awesome, like kanindot kaayo. No, only one of them can be modified, right? So if you're going to use one or the other, you're going to have to say either kanindot without using kaayo or nindot kaayo, right? Nindot kaayo sa imong balay. Yeah, your house, your specific house is the one that's being beautified, right? That's why again sa. So again, no to ka intensifiers, right? Only one can be modified. That's what our rule there stated. Only one, and it only affects the adjective, okay? Next one we have hugaw kaayo sa ilan ni Tia Nora, right? Hugaw kaayo sa ilan ni Tia Nora. It's really dirty in their place, right? So here it's okay because hugaw is our only adjective, but notice how I didn't intensify it with ka. Instead, I used kaayo, and that's fine, right? Because again, only one can be used. Hugaw kaayo or kahugaw without using kaayo. Kahugaw sa ila ni, right? Ni whatever. And here is an example of a specifier, right? We have the word puerting bahoa. Okay, puerting bahoa ang dalan nila. Puerting bahoa ang dalan nila. So ang dalan nila, Here, our adjective is baho, right? Baho. What got modified here? It's baho. That's why we use this specifier, puerte, meaning like grave or serious, right? Or very in this sense, right? Puerte nga baho a. Puerte is the one that's modifying baho. So therefore, this adjective is being modified already by something. We can't modify it again, or we can't intensify it again using ka. We can't say something like puwerteng kabaho a. No, that's no. Puwerteng kabaho a. It's already been modified once. We just leave it, right? Puwerteng baho a ang dala nila. You can also use, if you don't want to use puerte, right, which specifies a specific adjective using our specifier, you can use, if you want to use kaayo and you don't want to use puerte, you can also say, ay, baho kaayo dito, right? It's very smelly and just really smelly and stinky over there, right? But again, puerting baho a. You can't say puerting kabaho a. No, that's a big no-no, okay? Because again, it's not grammatically sound. There's like two things modifying that adjective, right? And then I'll show you how you can go around that, right? There are ways around this by I'll show you with the examples later, okay? And our next one is mas dako ang serbesa nako kaysa imo ha, right? Mas dako ang serbesa nako kaysa imo ha. All right, again, I'm just gonna explain this imoha here. I used imoha because again, it is a specified pronoun that's possessive. We know it to be imoha. Imohang what? Nga cerveza. We're comparing my beer to your beer. That's why it's specific, because you have something. And what is that something? It's a beer. Okay? Here, going back to the adjective again, mas dako, right? Dako is our adjective, meaning big, right? But mas modified this dako adjective. So we don't need to modify this again. We don't need to put a ka in it. Ka. It doesn't make sense to say mas ka dako. No, that's again, it's a big no-no. If it's been modified once, it can only be modified once and only once. If you don't want to use mas and you want to use ka, that's okay. Kadako ang sebesa nako, blah blah blah, that's fine. Mas dako ang sebesa nako, blah blah blah, that's okay too. But you can't use this one right here, mas kadako, because that's already two modifiers on the same adjective, and you only need one modifier. However, if you want to use if you want to keep describing it, you can use something like mas dako ug mas bugat pa, blah 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 blah, which is okay because each of these adjectives are being modified separately once by something, and that's fine as long as they're not sharing the same modifier. And lastly, this is what I mean by getting around, okay? You can say something like puwerteng dako kaayo, blah 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 blah, right? Puwerteng dako kaayo, blah 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 blah. That's fine because here, let's break it down. Let's start here first. Dako kaayo means very big, right? But we can also exaggerate this very big into really, really very big, right? Puwerte nga dako kaayo. If you're gonna do that, that quote loses that specifier a. Why? Because that quote was already modified by kaayo. Do you see what I mean? It's not being modified by puerting, or puerte, I should say. So the ko loses the a if it's not being modified by a specifier. If it's being modified by kaayo, or another, or just by itself, kadako, you don't need to put that specifier. In this case, puerte, or puerte, modifies the entire, this entire, how can I say it? This entire phrase, right? So, puerte nga dako kaayo, if you can see it that way, right? If you look at it outside, puerteng dako kaayo. Whereas, here is what I meant. Puerteng kadako a kaayo. No, you can't do that because both puerte and kaayo are now both modifying dako, and it only needs one modifier. Either kaayo, which is dako, which you don't need ka, or either with puerte, which is a specifier and you don't need and you will need a. So perting dako a, or just by itself, kadako, or with kaayo, dako kaayo. Right? There's like 3 ways it's being modified here, and you only need just one. But back here, it's modified only once with kaayo, but this whole dako kaayo is now one unit that's being modified by puerte. Puerting dako kaayo, which is okay. You can say that too, because this whole thing modified this whole unit here, dako kaayo, if you can see it that way. And I think that is it. Oh, one thing I do need to say, or just to remind again, is again specificity, right? Specificity. Keep in mind though that adjectives are a big deal in Cebuano, and I will be making more videos about adjectives and using adjectives because this is gonna get messy. So stay tuned and just be mindful about how these adjectives work.